So I just got back from SmartCon 2022 and I thought it was the most important event in crypto ever since Bitcoin launched back in 2008. Why do I think this? Well, for starters, this may have been the most psychologically satisfying thing that has ever happened to me. Meeting so many bright and intelligent people all attending this niche conference about what has made up such a massive portion of your life, with so many insane developments of the blockchain universe occurring right before your very eyes. Yeah, this little con, hosted by the coin-powering Web3, may have made a psychosis of mine abundantly clear. That chainlink is the most valuable asset on the planet. If you've never heard about chainlink, or are just generally clueless about cryptocurrency in general, don't feel threatened. For the majority of people, the realm of cryptocurrency, as it has so been dubbed, is a place of Ponzi coins, dubious intentions, and oddball moonshots. But to those of us who feel like we know what's going on, there's some real development happening behind the facade of Dogecoin ripoffs and unnecessary tokenization. So where's this confidence coming from? How exactly does Chainlink differentiate itself from the thousands of other cryptocurrencies out there? 5 years ago on the 4chan Business and Finance board, an anonymous poster with the trip code AssBlaster claimed to be an insider for a firm investing millions of dollars in the blockchain industry. And if you've ever spent time on Biz, someone claiming to be an insider with a coin to shill is nothing new or special. So what made AssBlaster stand out from the rest? Well, what makes AssBlaster so interesting hardly mattered until SmartCon New York, where practically all of the world's banking infrastructure said that they're integrating their current systems, ISO 20022, with blockchain technology.
So Swift is a cooperative, is an international cooperative. We run perhaps the biggest network in financial services today. And we have around 11,000 banks that are connected to Swift today. They exchange financial information in the most secure, reliable, and scalable way. The POC that we're doing, it's the end of a long story, right? I think 5 or 7 years ago, you were actually one of the first startups that we bet on. Swift and Chainlink worked together on the first POC that we did on bond issuance and redemption. It was quite successful, and that was maybe the first steps of this sort of love story between Swift and Chainlink, which continues today. There is undeniable interest from institutional investors into digital assets. Swift doesn't always have the potential to go and try to connect to all of them, right? Because if we bet on 10 this year and those 10 disappear, then we are losing investment in that. And it's the same for the banks.
Notice how they state that they're not interested in betting on a single blockchain, but are more so focused on developing the relationship with Chainlink instead of other coins for one reason. CCIP. What's CCIP, you may ask? CCIP stands for Cross-Chain Interoperability Protocol. Basically, instead of these large firms and institutions betting on various blockchains that come and go, they're betting on what can be referred to as Layer 2. Think of Layer 2 as the mycelium underneath the forest floor. It selflessly serves as a unified substrate connecting and harmonizing a greater ecosystem. It might be something that goes completely unnoticed to the casual observer, but still serves an essential role for the healthy growth and operation of the larger environment. However, instead of connecting the forest together, CCIP connects blockchains not only to each other, but also opens the door for communication between this new era of blockchain technology and any legacy systems from the past.
And that, in theory, means that they want to use a network that can connect to all of these capabilities, and that's where Swift comes into play. So that's the first factor. You have institutional investors saying, hey, Swift, we want you to be the network to connect to that. Now, in reality, connecting to this network for digital asset doesn't mean connecting to new, same infrastructures. It means that you have to bridge the gap between these infrastructures that have been there for ages and all of these new blockchains that are going to provide these services. So this is where CCIP comes into place, right? So it's the perfect example of If you have this interoperability network and you have Swift that is using this interoperability network, we connect to 11,000 banks. You connect today to 15 chain links, to 15 blockchains, but you can connect to way more. That's the bet that we're putting on you guys, and we're trying to encourage you to do more. Then you have these two infrastructures that are secure, that are reliable, that are scalable. Does that make sense?
Did you catch that? We have confirmation from a head director at SWIFT, Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, which connects over 11,000 banks worldwide, DTCC, a company which provides settlement services for financial markets.
Stephen, please tell us about the DTCC and the immensely important role it plays in the global financial system.
Our core business is providing clearance and settlement services for U.S. securities markets and post some pretty big numbers. I think last year we processed $2.4 quadrillion worth of securities. $2.4 quadrillion.
And BNY Mellon, an investment banking firm, saying that they're working very intimately with Chainlink. And this is, to my knowledge, the first time that this information has been publicly available and not behind a web of NDAs, or from a guy on 4chan named Ass Blaster. So cool. Powered by Chainlink, we have a huge slice of the world's banking infrastructure onloading their current systems into the blockchain space. Alongside this, we're witnessing the transmutation of the term cryptocurrency into the increasingly more popular label of Web3. Why should anyone care? Why doesn't anybody care? Well, if we take a peek at a certain guest speaker's fireside chat with Sergey, the CEO of Chainlink, we'll see the point I'm trying to express here made ever so clearly.
I decided to put my money and other people's money, into this space. I think that your vision is correct.
Yeah, I think so. I think at the end of the day, people's faith in mathematics is going to end up being stronger than their faith in institutions and brands and other people, because the tendency that mathematical guarantees will have to fail them will be an extremely low percentage, whereas the tendency that humans and institutions and brands run by humans, those things will continue to, unfortunately, very unfortunately, they will continue to fail.
And these are network businesses, so once you get a little bit ahead, it's very hard to catch up to the person ahead of you. And now in your case, because you were early and very smart, obviously, you got in there first. So you see it from the standpoint of the person who's ahead. Right, Google, roughly a third of the world's internet traffic goes through, I think that's still the number, through Google Fiber. You would never know that. Now, are these gifts to the world? Yes, thank you very much. But they were also in our direct financial interest, because it meant that we knew what was going on.
But I really think that the difference in Web3 is that it's about creating open markets for those compute workloads, for all of that, right? So the success of a protocol for me isn't that it centralizes the value of the compute or the control in one group, like a mining pool. It's that it successfully creates a market where people efficiently bid against each other to create more efficiency, more security, often through some form of formalized reputation.
Let's just say congratulations to you all for ending up in the right spot in the Web3 space, working with Chainlink. Thank you very much.
Oh, and by the way, that certain guest speaker is Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google. You know, the man who pioneered the Web 2 space so hard that we literally cannot imagine what modern life would look like without its services? Maybe give his words here a moment of consideration.
You're going to see Web 2 used in cases where you don't need the trustlessness, and but you can get the decentralization through centralization and centralization of power, which is how those companies work. And so I think the more likely scenario is you're going to see the traditional Web 2 stuff. But if you need something which is trustless, decentralized, right, and immutable, you're going to have very, very powerful systems. And part of the chainlink vision is basically cryptographic truth is always the right answer. So your religion, if I can say it, is don't trust the human, trust the protocol, right? So roughly what way to say it. Well, that is a scalable model if you can get the technology to scale. And that's likely a major contribution to the computer architecture going forward.
But let's cement this a little bit further. If everything in this video so far has sounded too good to be true, wait until you hear about what has been dubbed the network effect.
Do you like being in the front seat?
Yeah.